Well, hello again. It's the Gold Dragon himself, Lord Scorpion 13, and this is Raid Shadow Legends. Now, as soon as I saw everything drop on this new update, I wanted to get a video out to y'all as soon as possible. That's why my green screen isn't up or anything, so please don't fuss at me too much. But there's a lot to go over, so let's get to it, shall we? Alice is finally in the game. Sacred Order. Where are you at? Where are you at? There you are. They even went with the black-haired Alice, which is, I think, is pretty awesome. The only other black-haired Alice I know of is from Pandora Hearts. So, oh, wait a minute, that's the white rabbit's actually a living rabbit. That's interesting. But this is your login champion. First skill, attacks an enemy twice, places an extra hit if the target has any active skills on cooldown. Each hit has an 80% chance of decreasing the duration of a random buff on the target by a turn. Second, attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of increasing the cooldowns of all enemy skills by 2 turns. That books up to 100% actually. Also has a 75% chance of decreasing target's turn meter by 15% if at least one target skills has its cooldown increased to the max. It increases their turn meter by 30% instead. Third, attacks one enemy will ignore 20% of the target's defense. If the initial target is killed, also attacks the enemy with the lowest HP will also ignore 20% of the target's defense. Every 3 turns. Really nice. I'm liking this. Passive. TikTok. Whenever this champion attacks, inflicts 3% bonus damage to each target for each turn remaining on their skill's cooldowns. Interesting. The bonus damage is counted individually for each target. Active effect. Resets the cooldowns of one of this champion's skills each time they kill an enemy. Only occurs once per skill. And 30% increase ally attack in all battles. Now everybody says that this setup looks really good for arena, and it does, but I'd love to find out where else she would work good at. Okay, now let's head to the next one. Okay, Demon Spawn. Yeah, just because I want to. Let me find him. Let me find him. Let me find him. There he is. The Cheshire Cat. Now, putting the Cheshire Cat as Demon Spawn, that's an interesting take, but I think he looks better as a Demon Spawn than he does as a Skinwalker, so that's just my opinion. You may have an original opinion of your very own. Anyway, first skill, Phase Claw, attacks one enemy if the champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil buff, attacks all enemies instead, places a Perfect Veil buff on this champion for 1 turn. Damage based on attack and speed. Now this is very interesting because it's the first time I've seen damage based on speed in this game. That's nice. Second skill, attacks an enemy 3 times. Each hit will decrease the enemy speed by 1%. stacks up to 10. This effect does not work against bosses. Duh. Each hit will also increase this champion's speed by 1%, stacks up to 10. If this skill kills an enemy, places a perfect bail on the champion and the ally with the lowest turn meter for 2 turns. Also based on attack and speed. Interesting. Third, Grinning Helix. Attacks all enemies before attacking, places a perfect bail buff and a 50% increase attack on this champion for 2 turns. Grants an extra turn if this attack kills an enemy. Still with that speed bonus to attack. I'm liking that. Now, I know they say that the speed is like the king of stats in this game, but now you have a reason to speed the living daylights out of it. Also very nice. Passive. Shadow Smile. If the champion is under a veil or a perfect veil buff, turn meter fill effects are 30% more effective. Nice. Also, if this champion is under a veil or a perfect veil buff, this champion's attack will ignore 15% of the target's defense and inflict 15% more damage. Active. Whenever this champion is about to receive a hit that will drop their hit point below 20%, blocks the incoming damage and places a block damage and a perfect veil buff on this champion for a turn. Fun. And the aura increases ally speed in all battles by 19%. So, yeah. I want. Alrighty. Next we go into Knight's Revenant. Give me a second. I found him, but now I gotta find him again. There he is. The Mad Hatter. Yeah, he's got more of a Tim Burton vibe to him. They all do really, but I like it. I'm glad they went this route instead of some kind of, Disney spin-off. This makes them look pretty awesome. So, okay, first skill, Dastardly Distillation. Really? Attacks an enemy twice. Each hit has a 25% chance of stealing one random buff. Each hit also has a 75% chance of applying a debuff spread effect, taking one random debuff from the target and placing it on all enemies under a hex debuff. Now I like that. I really do. Second skill, Mixture Most Foul. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a hex and a 25% weaken debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. The ally with the highest crit damage will team up and join the attack. The ally joining the attack will use their default skill, as always. The damage dealt by the ally joining attack will increase by 10% per each debuff on the target. That just takes your nuker and just yeah, that just wow. That looks like fun. Alright, next skill, A Whiff of Madness. Increases the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn, and decreases the durations of all debuffs on all allies by 1 turn. It's kind of like how Valerie does. but unlike Valerie, also fills the turn meters of all allies by 20%. So it's like a Valerie plus. Very nice. And Aura increases ally accuracy in all battles by 60. Now he's a fusion where your fusion you need shards. But I'll get to that in a second. The Queen of Hearts. First, Heartburst, attack all enemies. Places a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. Also fills the turn meters of all allies by 5%. Okay. Off with their heads, of course. Removes all buffs from all enemies. Then places a Death Brand debuff on the initial target for 2 turns. Also places a True Fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. Fills the champion's turn meter by 5% for each buff removed by the skill. And we'll go through in case you don't know. Let me find it. I gotta find it. Death Brand. Champions under a Death Brand debuff will receive the Block Revive debuff when killed. Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure I was in the right order. Queenly Command. Team ups with all allies to attack a single enemy. Before attacking, places a 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. Decreases the cooldown of this champion's Off with Their Heads skill by 2 turns if the target is killed. Use that every 4 once skilled. Passive. Hail to the Queen. For every 10 buffs the enemy team receives, grants this champion extra turn. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. Okay. In Aura, increase ally accuracy in all battles by 70. Very, very nice. Now, I didn't recognize her. That may be our fusion, I don't know yet. I just gotta check real quick. The last one under here is the Knave of Hearts. First skill, attacks the enemy twice. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. Each hit also heals the ally with the lowest HP by 3% of this champion's max hit points. Healer a little bit. Second skill, attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of stealing 2 random debuffs or 2 random buffs from the target. Places a 15% continuous heal on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Also places an unkillable buff and a taunt buff on this champion for 2 turns. Third skill, Stout Defense. Swaps HP with target enemy and places a 100% heal reduction on that enemy for 2 turns. This debuff cannot be removed, transferred, or have its duration decreased by enemies. Nice. That is perfection. I like that. then equalizes the HP levels of all allies. The HP levels of all allies will be brought up to the level of the ally with the highest HP. Kind of like a Senesha, I believe. So, yeah. And then places a 60% increased debuff on all allies for 2 turns. Definitely got that nightly thing going down. I like him. I want him. Passive, Eternal Sentinel, at the start of this champion's turn, fully restores this champion's destroyed max HP. When attack destroys the attacker's max HP by 20%, of the damage received stacks up to 50. And he has a increased ally HP in all battles by 30%. Now going back to it, okay, it is Dawncaller Sabbatha that is the you get, here we go. Notice that she's fragment summon. We need fragment summon. You need to fragment summon 4 of them so you can get the Hatter. And get her from the events. Both of those. Dungeon Divers should be popping up in a little bit. Fire Knight starting up soon. So you'll be able to get the pieces from there. And I read through the notes that they're supposed to be, if you get them from all the events, you'll end up with an extra 50. You'll end up with all the champions plus an extra 50 shards. So I don't know how that's going to go from there. But I'm really stoked. I'm really stoked for the Alice Chase. I'm looking forward to getting her and trying her out. So right now would be a really good time to come back to the game or start a new account. So just something to consider. And until next time, y'all have a good one, alright? Now I'm going to go hit this event junction that is finally opened.
I think I like this dragon.